I'm starting with 3 tables and I'm on the waiting list for a 4th one. We have 2 tables where we are full ring, and then this one bottom right where it's only 3-handed, but we'll hopefully pick up a few more players. Okay, here I am going to just go for a small c-bet with my ace high, and we get a fold, which is very nice. Jack 6 off against a 3.5x raise from the small blind is a fold in the big blind. King 9 off is a fold, well, definitely after someone raises, but it would have been a fold anyway. King 9 off again here, small blind is a fold after the button raises. No point in getting cute and starting to 3-bet King 9 off against this guy. Also, he is a bit more on the tight side, I think, even though he raised 2 or 3 times in a row. Ace 10 off is definitely a good one to raise on the button. And not much action on that table, but that can change. Anyway, welcome. I hope you will all be having a bit of fun at this unusual time for a stream. I decided to do something different today. Ooh, there is a 3-bet, definitely folding Jack 4 off. Yeah, so just starting earlier. Normally I play in the afternoon my time in Europe, but today I have a few things to do in the afternoon, so I decided to do a morning one. And we're gonna raise King 5 off in the small blind against a rather passive big blind, tight and passive, so that's a good combination to go a bit wider than you normally would. Yeah, let's see if we can do some damage today. The last 2 streams, I think, were both tournament streams. Didn't do too well in those, ran really unlucky. But today we're back in our comfort zone. 25 NL. And raising Queen Jack offsuit. Is he going to 3-bet us? No, he is just calling. This is a horrible board both for my hand and for my range. So definitely starting with a check. This is where I would start with a check for my entire range. And he bets half pot, and all we have is 2 overcards. Don't even have any backdoors, so I'm just going to fold this one. It's a bit annoying, but there's not much I can do out of position. With queen high, no backdoor flush draw, no backdoor straight draw, only 2 overs. So, had to let it go. Okay, 6 deuce suited on the button will be a fold no matter what. Yes, hopefully soon, I think in the next hand, yeah, I will start playing on the table in the bottom left. So then we will have 3 tables running and 1 on the waiting list. And we now have a 4th player. That's great. I think this is a good one to just raise. Well, I haven't 3-bet at all yet, and yes, he is a bit on the tighter side, but that's a good thing because it means that he will potentially overfold, and getting him to fold anything when we have queen deuce is great. So that's a really good candidate to bluff 3-bet blind versus blind, because at least it is suited and we would have position if you were to call. So that is really good. 8-7 off. Well, I would have just raised this one simply because of the table dynamics, but because the cutoff raised, I had to fold. 3 deuce suited, no thank you. Okay, so this button raises to 2x. Doesn't have to be a bad player or anything, but often it will mean that it's not a great player who does that. But I do know there are some pros who do it because it allows them to open much wider. Right here I am calling 10-7 suited, and here I am going to raise this guy. Right, so this is a decent one. Okay, here on the left we got called, and we are going to start with a check. And here I am going to go for a check raise. Okay, he checked again. Oh, this is a run out. That is a to check here. Can't really do much more. Here I am going to continue barreling. And here I'm gonna do something unorthodox. I'm gonna call in the small blind with my king jack suited. And this really isn't a great one, so we're going to donk this one. I think I'm gonna check. And I have to give up now with my missed flush draw, and he had pocket kings. Okay, well, yeah, against pocket kings, there's not that much I can do. Okay, unfortunately, with my king jack suited, there is not a lot I can do. I have to give up. Like, we have 2 overcards. But he might be drawing dead. And also, if he has a hand like ace king or ace jack, if we then hit our king or the jack, we are dominated. So there's not a lot. I mean, I could have gone for the check raise with king jack of hearts on, what was it, 8, 6, 3 of diamonds, but I don't really think that is the kind of hand I would want to do that with. Okay, so king 6 suited, I'll just fold. It's good to see that we have this player who consistently limps, and I actually missed. Oh, I have kings. I missed. Did I win or did I lose that hand earlier where I had? Sorry. Now I am going to raise my pocket kings. Don't know how to even look that up now. Do we get any action? We do not get any action with the kings. Well, that's the thing. We lost quite a big pot against kings. Although we did have a good draw there. But then... Okay, I'm going to raise ace-5 offsuit in the cutoff for 2 reasons. One, it is GTO approved, because there is a tiny sliver of raises if you check ace-5 off. And the other thing is because the table has been rather passive and honest. So I think I can get away with opening a bit more. Yeah, no, still no seat on this table on the bottom, not bottom, on the top right. Wow, 9 against 5-3 suited there. Yes, I would like to find out, can I see how that hand ended when I had... Oh, I'm not sure what's going on here. Where I had the ace-10. I'll have to look it up on the stream again, because I just missed that one. I really don't remember. Not remember, I didn't see it, I mean. When I had the ace-10. If someone's watching and knows the answer, did I win that hand when I had ace-10? Okay, so here this table is going into heads up, which is not ideal. So I'm just gonna sit out the next big blind. Because I don't mind playing heads up, but the issue is that here I am just... when I multi-table is just too much action, it's just constant action. So I prefer to not do that. Okay, this is an interesting flop for sure. And when he bets, I fold. Okay, we have ace jack off now. Okay, there's a raise there, so I'm just gonna call ace jack off in the small blind. And again, we're getting a very interesting flop. So on this one, I'm okay to donk. And we get him to fold. And we have a seat, finally. This is great. Ten five off, definitely don't want to. Play. But ace jack off is a good one. Definitely want that. And everyone folds, okay. Yes, I'll see if I can... I think I'm just gonna leave this table. And I'll see if I can go on the waiting list for another one. Because I think we still have better chances of getting into a game than on the one where I was on my own at a table. Okay, queen, jack, 10-8. There is a limper. With 10-8, we can isolate him. Usually, my policy with limpers is if there's only one limper, I just kind of ignore them and I will play my normal range. And 10-8 suited is a raise on the button. So I'll do that. And if there is more than one limper, then I will only raise hands that are in my early position raising range. Here I'm going to go with a c-bet because not because I I hit this board in any way, but my range hits it, and I think even limpers realize that a board with an ace and a queen on it is quite good for the player who raised. So if he doesn't have any of that, then I get to take it down, and this is exactly what happened in this case. Okay, doing it again, and I have 10-8 again, but this time it's offsuit, so I'm not interested. Ace 4 off will be a fold in the cutoff. And Jack 3 off is a fold to a small blind raise. Okay, now we have King Jack suited in the small blind. And we have Ace Queen suited under the gun. Right, King Jack suited, this is one where I'm going to go for a 3-bet. Small blind versus a button raise. We get called with ace, where we have the ace queen. Going to c-bet this one quite big. Okay, King Jack, I am going to start with a check. And when he bets out there, I'm just going to check raise. Now we have a decent hand here, with a decent draw. I'm going to just check it back, and we backdoor into the nuts. Okay, now with this ace, we can continue barreling. Just also we have the nut flush draw, and we get it through. And let's see what we are doing here. So he bets almost pot. If he has a flush, I don't think he'll fold for pretty much anything. So we can go something like 55 or so. Let's just go 55. If he has a flush, he won't fold. If he has a set, he won't fold. If he has 2 pair, he might not fold, even for this size. But he did find a fold, unfortunately. Well, yeah, these were 2 interesting hands now. One where we had value, and the other one where we had a good draw, but yeah, I kind of prefer, like, prefer in the sense of, like, it's a more interesting hand, though, the 3-bet pot one with my King Jack suited, where I check raised the flop, and then when the ace came, giving us the nut flush draw, and the ace is a good card, then I bet fairly small, and I got him to fold. Okay, 8-4, I fold. King Queen off. I mean, I am going to open it, but this is quite marginal, and it doesn't seem like it because it looks like a great hand. But in early position, it's actually not that amazing. I think it's pretty much break even to open this one, but not more than that. So I did open it, but sometimes I actually just like to fold this sort of hand in early position. Here I raised it mainly because, okay, here we can see bet. Mainly because we were only 6-handed, because in a 7-handed game I would be more inclined to fold. Okay, so we're getting check raised on this board. I expected that to some extent, so definitely going to call, and we now turn top pair. Okay, this is with 3 deuce off, this is kind of the only time I will just fold this. Normally, I will always raise. I have to call this one. Normally, I always raise when someone raises to 2 big blinds on the button. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, here we are going to go with the overbet now. Right, so he now goes very big, saying he has a 6 or better. Like, there is nothing else he would have. The question is, do we believe him? I mean, the queen of clubs doesn't matter that we have that. He could have he could have 7-5, he could have a 6, he could have pocket 4s. So he does have quite a few value hands, and I'm just gonna give this one to him. I'm just gonna fold because it's a 1.5x bet on the river. That is a really big bet. He is a rather passive player, and yes, he will have some bluffs there, but as I say, 7-5 got there, and if he has a 6, he would take that action. If he has pocket 4s, he would. And the only time that we beat him is if he has a missed flush draw or some other spaz, so I'm okay with that. Okay, this is not the greatest of flops. And I think there is no reason to turn this into a bluff. And we are going to just check it down and hopefully win with what is 4th pair now. And we do. And you see, so this was the same player again now that bet 1.5x in the previous one, which kind of makes me think even more that that wasn't a bluff. So that's why I was happy to just get away from that hand. Ace 10 off. No action. Okay, would you have called there? Any of you watching this? Let me know in the chat. Oh, I hear my microphone volume is a bit low. That is interesting. Thank you for letting me know. I can try to speak a bit louder. The thing is, I don't really know what else I could do, but I'll have a look. Thank you for letting me know. So I think normally my microphone level should be okay. So yeah, please let me know if you're still experiencing these issues. And the question was, do I think that it is better to play in the morning when it is softest? I'll get back to that in a moment. Let me just call the Queen Jack offsuit. And we can now go for the overbet. And if he calls, we still have a queen and a jack as an out, and spades would also do it, but I think now I have to give up because spades missed, and I don't think he would just call there with a naked ace or king, and so I don't think I can bluff him off. I mean, I could bluff him off those, but he might not have them, so I think now I have to give up. And he bets half pot. I mean, what can I do here? I can't check raise. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to do this, so I will just fold. Right, so is it better to play in the morning? To be completely honest with you, I don't have a big enough sample size to answer this question. I have only played like a handful of mornings, And I haven't really noticed that the games are any softer in the mornings than they would be in the evenings or nights or anything. Although I haven't played like properly at night for my time in Europe. Like the latest was like 9 or 10 p.m. my time in London. So I think oh, we got another seat. Great. So I think just play whenever you have the time. Like, yeah, probably Friday evenings might be better than other times. Normally mornings are not that great because I mean, how many recreational players really play in the mornings? But then again, a site like this one is a worldwide site, so they are they have players from all over the world. So the morning for me is evening in Asia, night in Australia, and like super early morning in the Americas. So then that's why th- there are all kinds of players at all times of day. I feel like on Coin the games are a bit softer than on other platforms. So, but I don't think I normally don't really care what time of day I play. I play when I have the time to play or when I want to play. So I hope this answers the question. Is there anything like from your point of view, like what that you think it would make a difference? So please join in the discussion. Raising pocket jacks quite big over a limper, and unfortunately everyone folds. And also let me know about the microphone, if, if the sound is now good enough. Okay, we're getting 3-bet by the big blind. It was quite a quick 3-bet. It's a fairly small one with ace 5 off, which is such a marginal open in the cutoff anyway. I have an easy fold. Ace 10 off now. Okay, now that we have a raise from fairly early, I'll just ditch the ace 10 off. That's another one of those hands that looks better than it actually is. Yes, you can 3-bet it, but I don't think it's an amazing idea to 3-bet it. And here in this case, we might even have gotten cold 4-bet. Seven, 4, I have to ditch this one. Here now with queen jack off, I am going to 3-bet it because we are in position. There's a cutoff open that's late enough. So we have a good chance of getting folds, and we do indeed get folds. And we're treated to some pocket 9s on the same table. There is an early position raised to 3x, which I don't love. I am still going to 3-bet this. I'm going to raise queen 10 off against I mean, this one's quite thin, but that's okay. Okay, we did get called there, so I am going to go with a small c-bet with my pocket 9s, and we have pocket kings. Okay, so let's just raise our pocket kings. This is just not a great flop, but I'm still going to c-bet. Here he called in the top right. I'm going to just check this now though. And going to check my queen 10. And I do want to bet this river as a bluff. Here we're going to bet, and I'm going to just check. And yes, pocket jacks, okay. And we did get it through with our queen high bluff. And unfortunately, not much action where we had the pocket kings. Yeah, there were 3 tables at once now that I have to concentrate on. Right, queen jack suited, I can 3-bet this one. Queen 10 off is a tiny bit too early. Cut off, I would have opened it. Hijack is a bit too marginal for my taste. Oh, we're getting cold 4-bet by the big blind, and it's a pretty big 4-bet. So that is, of course, the risk that you always run into when you 3-bet, but I think this has to be a fold, especially for this size. There's no need to go that big. I mean, it might be indicative of ace-king, but still, if he had made it 22, 23, I could consider calling there, even though that's probably also not that great. Okay. And 6-4 off. I'll just fold this one. And the small blind. So, Cyrus, you're welcome for the answer. If there's anything else you would like to know, please don't hesitate. That's true for all of you. Very happy to answer more questions while I'm playing here. We have pocket 8s in the big blind, bottom right table. Just waiting for the small blind to act. And there is a raise from the cutoff. I think it's best to just call. Where is an ace high board? He c-bets. This is already quite marginal, I'd imagine, but I can call once, because he can do this with all sorts of Broadway hands or flush draws, but now that he barrels again, I am definitely letting go of my pocket 8s. Yeah, so we haven't really had a good hand yet, I think. I haven't had a set. I had one flush where I backdoored into it, but apart from that, just not been on the good end of the card distribution. Okay, pocket 5s. I am just gonna open this because we're on stream, but I do actually think this is at best break even from the hijack. Well, we do want to play some hands, so we open them and we actually just take them down. So that is a decent result. Queen 10 off, bottom right, opening on the button. Just taking the blinds. Yeah, I think it's a rather nitty player pool. Okay, we are getting raised where we have the ace-queen, so I am just going to 3-bet ace-queen. If we get 4-bet, I might jam this, but no need. He just folds. Yeah, so the reason why I would consider jamming ace-queen there is because I think in blind versus blind there are a lot of players who just 4-bet light. Okay, so what do we have? We definitely going to raise this. And here we could go either way. I'm just calling now because I just left it a little too long. Well, he bets there. Can we ever take this away? I'm just gonna fold here because we don't even have a back door, and it's not impossible. Ooh. Right, so this I do not like. We're getting check raised by a passive player. I am going to call once here, although even this might be thin. Okay, well, he keeps barreling, and if he had a bluff, that bluff would most likely have been a flush draw, and he got there now, and yes, we do have the King of Hearts. That's the only consideration. But we're not even drawing to the nuts, so I will just make a nitty fold. He's just such a tight and passive player. I don't know, no, maybe not tight, but passive. He limps quite a bit, and to then become so aggressive, that doesn't sound like he would just suddenly find a bluff, although obviously that's always possible. Ooh, that's interesting. Ace Queen versus pocket sevens on Ace Queen 7. Ouch. Okay, King 10 off. Gonna call this in the big blind. You're raising. Gonna just donk bet this one. Queen Jack off. Okay, let's just min raise it. I'll get kings there, and here we can now go with a fairly big bet. When the flush comes in, here we're getting 3 bet by the cutoff, so just folding Queen Jack. Do get called, and now, I mean, my only chance is to overbet this and hope that he folds a hand like pocket sevens or so, and folding he does. I mean, if he has a flush, obviously he'll always call, but if he doesn't have a flush, it'll be very tricky for him to call. Yes, if he has a set, he might find a call, but other than that, that's a good one to overbet there, because I don't see him call too much. Right, and with pocket kings, no action whatsoever, unfortunately. But we are used to that by now, and sadly. Haven't had aces yet today, but normally when I have aces, I get no action. Although I guess that's true for most players. It just reduces the combos of other players having a decent hand. If you have aces, that is the problem there. 6-3, 6 deuce, 6-4, king 6 off. Just having all sorts of terrible hands. Okay, king jack off, bottom right. Going to open this one. And once again, these tables seem to be quite nitty, which means I can probably open slightly wider than I normally would. Ace king suited in the small blind, top right table. Not much action. Now opening on the small blind and no action whatsoever. 8-7 suited in the hijack is a fold for me. I know a lot of players love these suited connectors. I don't. I know that they are break even at best, and I try to avoid them from early position. Late position I'd always open them, but if I'm in early position I tend to only open 5-6 suited and then Jack 10 suited and better, but I'll just skip all the ones in between. Why 5-6 suited? Well, it's just a way for me to mix it up and just have board coverage for a different type of boards. And those hands play quite well even against 3 bets. Right, we flop top pair with a flimsy kicker. So I'm gonna check this one back. Just protecting my checking range, which is not like the biggest thing at 25 NL, but I still do like to do that with such a hand. And he bet's quite small, so just calling. Let's see what he does on the river. If he checks, I'll bet for value. If he bets big, I'll probably call. He bets fairly big, so he might well have 2 pair now, but I didn't filter his range at all. He has a big blind range, so I am happy to just call down. And he had a complete bluff, and that's why sometimes it's good to just protect your checking range. Okay, there was a limp from early position. And I have queen 10 offsuit. I'm gonna fold this one now because we have to pay rake, so I don't want to just complete. I want to be disciplined. And I didn't want to raise that hand in the small blind necessarily. Okay, now we have king 10 suited, bottom right. This is one where I am happy to 3-bet. A7 suited from fairly early position. Because we're on stream, I'm going to open it. And we do get it through with our 3-bet with king 10 suited. Pocket 3s against an early position raise, just fold. Okay, just gonna c-bet this, since players fold too much to c-bet still, even if only slightly, but they do in this case. We take it down and we're happy. 10 deuce off, what a pretty hand. So what platforms do you play on? Normally, leave a comment below if you play these stakes somewhere. Just curious to find out. I used to play a lot on PokerStars, now I've migrated to Coin. Okay, here, this one, I will start with a check. We have an open-ender, an overcard. I will continue checking because we still have the ace high at least. And we do not improve at all. But that's okay. We can still win this with our ace high. And we do win it with our ace high. Don't know what he had. Didn't show, but we win. Okay, there's another limper, top left table. I do like playing against limpers. I don't like it when someone else raises. Although, I mean, I can't complain. I don't mind folding 8-3 offsuit. But of course, it's always nice to see a free flop. Okay, pocket eights, top right. Definitely opening them, obviously. Okay, side recess, poker stars, and micro stakes there. Yeah, that makes sense. I did like playing on poker stars too. I just transferred to this side because I think it is a bit softer. Okay, we're getting check raised by this player who is also more on the passive side, but fair enough. Just gonna call with our pocket eight. He checks now. I'm gonna check behind. Absolutely no point in betting. The ace not good for us, but he might be scared now. He doesn't seem too scared. Bet 3/4. There aren't many bluffs there. I mean, it could be just a complete bluff, but there aren't real natural bluffs, so I will just fold my pocket eights now with 2 overcards and us having gotten check raise on the flop and facing a big bet on the river from a rather passive player who sometimes even limps, I think. So I'm okay to just give up. Queen jack off against the limper. We are a bit early, but still going to isolate this player. I want to play pots in position against limpers. A hand like Queen Jack offsuit is not the worst for that. It does call. The board's pretty decent for me. I'm going to bet third pot. He calls quickly. I'm going to go small again. Let's see. Get him to call again, and now if he has a hand like, well, could have 7-6 or so. Or if he checks now, I'm going to just bet big. Bit over pot. If he has a king, he will call, but he doesn't because he pretty much snap folded. And that's the thing, like if you go small on the flop, small on the turn, he will still call with a lot of second and third pair. And then you can get him off those with a big bet on the river, which is what I did in this case. And now we have pocket kings on the same table. Bottom left, where pretty much everyone folds except for this guy again. And we flop a pretty decent one. I think I am just gonna check now. Unfortunately, he checks again, so I don't think we'll get a lot out of him. And he does fold. I mean, there is not a lot to connect with here. And yes, he would have to have a pocket pair pretty much. When we flop a boat, there's not that much hope that one limper, I mean, he wasn't a limper, but he limped in the previous hand, one passive player, one loose passive player, that he would have a big hand, so sadly, no action. Right, Cider says, I think coin poker looks great because you can play it from like everywhere. Yes, that is exactly the case. Yeah, you saw a streamer play coin from his hotel room in Vegas. That's exactly it. You can play it from everywhere pretty much in the world. That's why I like it as well. I mean, where I live, I don't have a shortage of rooms for sure, but it's still great to be able to play from everywhere, anywhere. So yeah, that is great. Right here, pocket sixes on the button. I'm gonna fold them now. Sometimes if I have weak players in the blinds, I might call, but I think it's okay. He's playing WSOP, I think, which is now going on. Yes, WSOP is starting. I think, isn't it today or so, the first day? It's definitely starting now if it hasn't started yet. Yeah, that is quite interesting. I played the WSOP, I even played the main event once. So, I mean, I've only been there once for the WSOP. That was in 2019. I played, I think, 4 or 5 tournaments, including the main event. Was a very special experience, one that I definitely recommend. 10-8 off is a hand that I want to 3-bet blind versus blind. Obviously folding to a 4-bet. And there is the 4-bet. Yeah, see, like when I had ace queen, this would have been a good one to then jam. But here, in this case, we've got 8 deuce off everywhere. I'm just going to fold. There's not that much you can do once you 3-bet a hand like 10-8 offsuit. 5-4 off, don't get tempted to call this in the big blind. Three off, not exactly the hand I want to play either. But now there might be a few playable ones. King queen off on the button, king 4 suited in the big blind. Not so much 10-9 off on the button after a raise and a call. king queen. I'm gonna open. King 4 against the 3x raise. I'm still going to call. That's a decent flop for my hand. Right, we're getting a 3-bet. This is a hand where we can just go for the 4-bet. Okay, we are gonna go like this. Okay, and he... Oh, this is not great, but we are going to overbet this. And here we're just gonna fold to a pot-sized bet in a 4-bet pot. I mean, he is not messing around. He 3-bet me, then he called my 4-bet, and then he donked for half pot on a wet board in a 4-bet pot, putting most of his chips on the line. And here he folded with a 4-liner. That's great. Okay, ace-5 suited. This is another one of those where, I mean, we are quite deep. That's the only problem with jamming. I'm just gonna call it. I was gonna 3-bet, but the issue was that he might 4-bet, and then if we're 125 effective, big blinds, I mean, I don't want to jam that. I would have jammed for 100. So right here we can definitely raise these pocket aces here. We're just gonna call. He bets small. Oh, with the aces, no action, sadly. But here we are going to, well, problem is I don't think I can get him to fold because I just bluffed him on the other table. He didn't see that I bluffed, but I bet big, and if I overbet now, I think I'm just gonna fold this. Right, ace-9 suited. There's so much value now that I'm going to call in this multi-way pot. That's a decent flop for our hand. I don't really think this will get stabbed, so I will just check. And fortunately, this is not a great spot at all. Okay, I'm gonna fold the jack 5 suited. And here, this is really annoying, but it's likely that we're still drawing to the nuts, so I have to call, even though it's quite a big bet, and unfortunately we miss. And he bets. If he had checked, I would have considered jamming, but the issue is now I can't do much. And he had pocket jacks. I mean, I guess it makes sense. He cold called a 3-bet. I think it was still fine because we did have a very good draw there. Right, king queen. We got 3-bet, and then there's a 4-bet, so easy one to fold. Yeah, not going that well, is it? Okay, king 3 suited. I mean, he makes it quite big, but that's quite nice, because now we can just cold 3-bet. I mean, there's always a cold 3-bet, isn't it? If you 3-bet. But I'm not scared that he put in 6.3 big blinds there because he wanted to isolate the limper. And now he folds, which is great, so we just win more money. Okay, we have a few interesting ones. Okay, king, queen. Just gonna call this one again. Okay, king, jack suited I would have loved to play, but I can't now. Here, I'm just gonna check behind. And now he bets fairly big. I'm gonna call this with my 2 overs. And now let's see what he does. He bets quite big, but we can still bet even bigger. Here I'm gonna call. He bets small, that's okay. We have a gut shot. I am gonna call here once. Unfortunately, he did call here, and he had the nut flush. Okay, well, if he has the nut flush, he's definitely gonna call there, right? And here I have to fold now. Okay, not going very well. I won't lie. I don't know. Today is just not a. Has not been going very well. Anyway, well, I hope I can play the main event once in the future, says Cydrus. Yeah, that is definitely something I would recommend. It's an amazing experience, once in a lifetime experience, but yeah, it's not an easy one mentally and even physically. So I'm going to just check raise my 2 overcards and the back door there. The ace, not that great. He could have called there with ace king, ace queen. And now the jack gives me second pair, but what do I beat? I beat a hand like queen 10, king 10, 10, 9. I lose to kings, queens, and slow plays. And he did have kings. Yes, I'm just choosing the wrong bluffs, I have a feeling. So it's just not been very lucky with some of my bluffs now in the last few minutes. At the beginning of the session that was fine, but now in the last few minutes I've just it's not been going that well. Here now we're getting 3-bet by the big blind. This is, I think, more of a passive player. Just gonna fold king queen off. Okay, king jack off. I will fold this 7-handed under the gun. There's just not enough in it. Ten eight suited in the small blind, I'll fold. King 9 off, big blind. It's marginal, but I think it's okay. Jack 5 suited is a fold in the big blind. Okay, now we have top pair, top right table, but it's probably slightly better for his range. So I'll just check, and he now overbets it. That's interesting. But still, with my king, I will have to call. Going for a c-bet with my 5 high on king 10-8. He pots it now. So he checked the flop, then he overbet the turn, and now he pots it. I'm still going to call, although I think it is probably marginal. But here we're going to 3-bet. I'm gonna call this one. He's just saying he has such a big hand, and yet absolutely nothing. That's great. So I tried to bluff him unsuccessfully, and now he bluffed me unsuccessfully. And we're gonna call with pocket kings, of course. This all in. Let's hope he doesn't have aces. He has ace king. That's kind of what I thought when he jammed. So we win the first board, and we win the second board. That's nice. Yeah, we needed this one. Yeah, it's a problem when you jam with ace king, although I do it too. I sometimes just 4-bet jam ace king, and then you always run the risk of running into aces or kings. But yeah, that was important. It was good to get this one. Okay, pocket deuces against this player. I am just going to fold. Consider 3-betting. You can do that with the small pairs. I sometimes do it. But I've battled this player so much that I would like to have hands that can improve a bit more. So I'd rather 3-bet 7-6 suited than pocket deuces. What does this guy say? The goat is here. They're commenting. We don't know who the goat is or what that is. Yeah, so king jack off against a button raise to 2x. I'm going to 3-bet this, not because I typically 3-bet king jack off, but because whenever someone raises the button to 2 big blinds, I just don't really take them seriously. Sometimes they will be trapping, but most of the time they are just trying to steal the pot, and they will just fold to a 3-bet. So when I see that, I will raise a very wide, or 3-bet a very wide range. Okay, this is good for me. I'm just gonna check this one. I know this is kind of like a range bet situation, but I want to check. Well, this is interesting what he's doing here. So just check calling for sure. Yeah, it's the danger, of course, because when he bets so small. Now he's just trying to get to a cheap showdown, I have the impression. Well, that's fine. And now on this river, I'm just not going to give him a cheap showdown. Well, the problem is, though, I think I will still give him a cheap showdown, though, because my kicker is just not that great. If I had ace-king and I had ever taken this line, I would have played differently. Small, small, big is normally under-bluffed. It is under-bluffed, but we still have top pair. I mean, he doesn't really have a weaker top pair, but because of the way I played it, I definitely have to call. And he did have a king as well, just a weaker king. So that's all right then. That's the thing, like, there are some players like this one who just thinks that I never have a king. So he was probably just convinced I don't have a king, and he had a king. So he thought he had the best hand. and so he just triple barreled it, small, small, big. So it wasn't a bluff, and as I said, this line is highly underbluffed. I know this from mass data studies. But the thing is, even if it's massively underbluffed, it doesn't mean that it's a strong hand. In this case, he was just doing it with a really weak king. And he called my 3-bet with king 7 suited. Raising. Oh no, not raising. There was a raise there, so I'm just folding my pocket sixes. Siders also says, respect to all the players grinding the WSOP, it can't be easy. No, I can tell you it is not easy. So when I played the main event, we started at 12 noon. So we had to be there like a bit before that. And then we only finished at around 1 a.m. And then the next day is a day off, at least like for the first 3 days. Then after that you have to play back-to-back days. But I made it to day 4, and after day 1 and day 2 I always had a day break, a day off. And I'm just playing this now, so just folding to his c-bet with 7-5 off. Yeah, so, and I played from 12 noon until 1 a.m. Then, of course, after playing poker for 13 hours, you can't fall asleep until like 4 a.m. or so. And then you have the next day off, but the next day is just like all that adrenaline cortisol rush from the previous day. You just have to deal with that, so you can't do much. I really just relaxed, went to the gym, went to the pool, went for a walk, had a nice meal. It's just really just you try to relax, and then the next day you're back in the grind. And then again from 12 noon until 1 a.m. and then again a day off, and then after that was day 3 where again I played. I think that was even longer because we played until the bubble burst really late, and then I think I got back to my hotel at like 2 a.m. and then the next day I had to be back for 12 noon right the next day, so I didn't sleep much, and then I busted at the beginning of day 4. I only played for I think less than an hour or so, and then I was done with a main event, that is. But if you play other tournaments, it might even be back-to-back play, and you still play up to 12, 13 hours a day. So it is a genuine grind. And I felt a bit, that was actually quite cool. I felt a bit like being a Wimbledon player in tennis, and you just have to play a day, then you have a day off, and so on. Except that I played like 13-hour matches every day. Okay, I'm calling with 8-6 off in the big blind against the small blind. It is a bit marginal with a 3x raise, but I think it's fine. Okay, he bets third pot. Nothing else for me to do than to call. Okay, here on the right top we have an open ender. Just gonna c-bet this. He bets again. He bets on the bigger side now. Definitely nothing else to do than to call. And the ace is not great now. Okay, the king, on the other hand, is pretty good. I'm just gonna go 2/3. And he checks now. I mean, I'm not gonna get him off an ace. I'd have to bet really big to get him off a queen. I'm just gonna take my showdown value. And he did have a queen, actually. Okay. So here I'm just gonna bet fairly big again, trying to get him to fold a 7 or pocket 5 fours, but he does call, and he has a 6. Okay, well, if he has a 6, I didn't think I could ever get him to fold that. Was very unlikely that he had a 6 though. So this one might not have been the best bluff that I've made. I think I made a few good ones today, but I just ran into the top of their range, and it happened here as well. But maybe it wasn't the best to go for a triple barrel, but because I didn't go too big, if he has a 7 or pocket 5s, he might well have called 2 barrels and folded the third one, and then he will obviously never fold a 6 there, even though I bet fairly big. He probably wouldn't even fold it if I overbet, so that's fine. I'm just got unlucky that I ran into the top of his range. Yeah, this player clearly thinks that he is very good. He says can play 10 tables at one time. He's the GOAT. Come on, I am so good. I am the GOAT. Great. Always good to know that someone is the greatest of all time and they're just telling you so you don't have to figure it out yourself. It's very smart. Okay, would be nice to have a playable hand for a change. Queen 8 suited almost qualifies as one, but not in the low jack. Queen 9 off big blind, King 7 off big blind. Let's see, potentially playable. But King 7 off is not playable now against this sort of raise, and here the Queen 9 off either. Again Queen 9 off on this table, but under the gun. Not good either. Okay, pocket 3s in the small blind. The big blind is not the greatest player, I think, but still. Just gonna fold, and King 7 suited is a fold as well in the small blind. Okay, King 3 suited, definitely a fold to a raise and a 3-bet. Ace Queen offsuit on the button. Definitely going to 3-bet this player. And if he 4-bets, I'm gonna jam. Not for value, obviously, but I do think that he has a lot of ace-x and king-x hands that he would 4-bet. He is the type of player, he is quite reggy. He might do it with 10s and jacks, which is fine, because if then he then calls, still have the right equity, pretty much. But he folds anyway, so that's fine. Okay, there's limp. We have a6 off, but just a6 off against limp when we're out of position is not that great. So I'm just gonna give it up. Okay, king 5 off is now a candidate for the muck after an early position raise. Serious betting there. A 3 bet, a cold 4 bet, and then a 5 bet. Liking the Monten. Okay. Okay, king 7 suited will be a fold no matter what, and once there's a limp, then even more so. Normally, I mean, if I had been a little later, I would definitely have isolated the limper. But being the hijack, that is a little too early for that. Pocket deuces. Well, I'm just going to call. He made 2.2x. That really isn't the flop I was hoping to get. Can we ever check raise this? Just think he'll just call too much there. I'm just going to give up. Yeah, so next week I'm gonna do a few more streams, possibly some longer ones as well, and I'm going to start with my bankroll challenge soon. I'll have to figure out exactly how I want to do that one, because the plan is to start with $0, so I will have to do quite a few free rolls at the beginning to get some sort of a bankroll together, because it's quite hard if you have really $0 in your bankroll. I've never done this before, first really starting from zero, so that will be an interesting experience. Look forward to that. Okay, here we have pocket jacks on king 8 deuce. I'm just gonna check this one because we're up against two players. The 8 is pretty bad as well. When we lose to an 8, we lose to a king, we lose to pocket deuces, but they both check again. And when they both check again, I am going to bet now. I'm going to bet small. This is more like a protection bet. Normally I don't need to protect against one player, but if we are against two players on the turn, I mean on the flop I need to protect against one player because there are two more cards to come. On the turn I don't need to do that. Normally in a heads up pot because there's only one card to come. But I will still do it in multi-way pot. And here we get check raise now, which I think is a bit dubious. I normally don't think this is a lot that he can have there. Definitely calling, and let's see what he does on this river. He checks, and now absolutely no reason for me to bet. What would I get called by that's weaker? Pretty much nothing. And he had ace jack, and that's kind of what I thought. That line just didn't make much sense. So if you are in a multi-way pot against a passive recreational player, what you don't want to do is check twice there and then hope that the reg who raised pre-flop will bet after he checked behind on the flop to then check raise if you have a big hand. No, you would go out, you would go for value, and that's why this line looked really fishy by him. So I was happy to just call there. Okay, King Jack off against an early position raise from a rather tight player. That is a no thank you proposition. Okay, so here this guy has been tanky for about a minute on the button. I mean on the fake button, because the button is empty, so he's in theory the cutoff, but basically the button. And now we have our friend that we've been battling. He is in the small blind and he just folds, which is great. Okay, these are not hands I want to go to war with. Yeah, so we've had one table here, bottom left, where it's been going quite well, and the other three have actually all not been going well today. 10-3 suited. No, I'm gonna fold it. King Jack suited. Let's raise this one up. Everyone folds. That's fine with me. King 3 off in the big blind. Not much I want to do. Queen 4 suited against a fairly open early position raise. Don't want to play this one either. Here we can raise 4-3 suited, small blind versus big blind. We are getting 3 bets straight away. This is kind of a marginal call, but I do think I do want to call. We flop bottom pair. He goes for about half pot. Nothing for me to do than to call. I mean, I could raise, I suppose. He goes slightly over half pot again, and I think now's probably the time to let go of this. This seems more of a recreational player, so then with my bottom pair, probably not that amazing. Gonna check my middle pair, bottom right table. Pocket jacks, I could 3-bet, I could call. I'm just gonna call, and here I'm also gonna call. Okay, he checks. I'm gonna stab this one with this exact hand. If he has ace king, he's not gonna go anywhere. Right here, he keeps betting, fairly small though, but I'm just gonna call again. And now, when this pairs, I am just gonna come out and bet this myself. If he hasn't a 7, he won't fold. Okay, now I'm gonna check my jacks. And he calls. Don't know what he has. Might have had a 7 actually, or maybe a queen. So we got some money in there. Didn't really have the time to think about get him to fold a hand like ace-10 offsuit, then there's no point in 3-betting. So I will play more my live poker strategy, where I will do a linear, or I use a linear 3-betting range, and ace-5 suited is not quite in that linear one. So linear means that you just take the best hands and you go a little bit lower than just the very best, but you don't have any real bluffs in there. And ace-5 suited would just be a bluff, so ace-5 would be part of my polarized 3-betting range. Okay, that's a decent flop for my hand, not so much for my range. I'm starting with a check. Well, he just quickly checked behind, so I'm going to overbet this one now and get him to fold. That's great. So I had the nut flush draw, and I had a gut shot as well, and 2 overs. So that was a good way to start betting big there. Could get him to fold ace queen maybe, or just get him to fold other hands that still have some equity against me. That's a decent flop when you have ace-8. Okay, so now am I going to bet? I'm just gonna check it again to him. just gonna call, and on this river, I'm just gonna give him a tiny bit of rope here. Just gonna bet really small. He might just call if he has a jack, but he might spaz out if he has a bluff. But yeah, he just called. Oh, and wow, and he has ace 10. Look at this, he had the remaining ace. Okay, well, then I lost the minimum with my play, and that's the thing, like he needs to raise there. He would get so much more money there if he raises me, but he just called my tiny block bet on the river with ace 10. But yeah, it should have been a clue that he didn't c-bet the flop on such a board that's so good for the original raiser. But yeah, that makes sense. And we lost the minimum, but again, not running very good. Like if you have ace 8 and the flop comes ace ace deuce and you still lose, you're not running very good. Ace 4 off against the cutoff raise. This is the same player who raised the ace 10 earlier, but I'm gonna fold. So it's only 5 of us left at this table now. Okay, jack 8. Just gonna raise jack 8 off. Ten six suited will hit the muck once there is an early position raise. King queen off. We're going to 3-bet button versus cutoff. And he folds again, which is great. Okay, I'm gonna start with a check now with bottom pair. I'm gonna call with bottom pair. Okay, the ace is good for me. Not for this exact hand, but for the range. He keeps betting quite big, which is interesting, but I haven't filtered his range at all. And we saw that he likes to slow play. And he bets again. He bets really big. What happened there? How did I auto-fold after like 2 seconds? What on earth happened there? Oh no, he just checked. Oh, that was it. He checked and he had a7. What? But no, he didn't. That was weird. Did I call there? Did I accidentally call somehow? I really don't know what happened there. I need to explore. But first we are involved in a 3-bet pot where we have 2 overs and we have... Okay, so I'm going to c-bet this one to around half pot. Can get him to fold king queen, king jack, queen jack, those sorts of hands. Still have a gut shot and 2 overs, but he called the fairly big bet, so I am just going to check behind. Okay, what do we beat here? Well, first of all, I don't think we can get him to fold any pair. Can we get him to fold ace jack or ace queen, ace king? I think I'm just going to check behind and probably lose, but I don't really feel confident that I could get him to fold exactly a hand like that. So he had the nines that I needed for my gut shot. That would have been nice. A nine on the river, him rivering a set and me rivering a straight. But once again, we did not run so well. Okay, here I'm definitely going to donk this one against an early position raise on such a board that's totally a donkable board. Okay, with the nine of hearts, I am just going to slow down now. He bets, and I'm definitely calling this. And the 10, really not great, but we have a 7 in our range, so I'm going to turn this into a bluff. And bet quite big. Because we definitely have a 7 in our range. Could have slow played hearts that I would play it like this, and I got a fold, which is great. Yeah, so I definitely turned my threes there into a bluff, because I think I can get him to fold an overpair. Even though I didn't choose a huge size, but I made it look quite value-y. I didn't say that I had a flush there, I said that I have a straight or maybe some flush that's not amazing, because otherwise with a really good flush I would have wanted to go much bigger and get a little more money into the pot. Okay, pocket threes again, this time in the cutoff. There is a limp, which is interesting. Do I ever want to limp behind here? Okay, I don't, because the guy only has 20 big blinds behind, so there's no point in limping. This would actually be a mistake to limp, because if someone makes it 6 then or so, first of all, the guy with a short stack might just jam, and then obviously I have to fold, and even if he calls, like to call another 5 big blinds or so, to then play. Okay, we got another situation where we're going to 3-bet this guy. He might have enough by now, but I keep doing it until I have a big hand, and then maybe he will spaz out when I have a big hand. Not that I have it now. Because the thing is, yes, I keep doing it with bluffs, but he doesn't know that. And well, he will realize that I can't have value every time, but he doesn't know if this time I have value or not. And you see now, I think he folded at least 3 times in a row to my 3-bet, so that is really good. I will have to be a bit more careful at some point, because he might play back at me, but as I said, I will also do this with like really good hands. Check it off. Gonna raise this. Okay, this is one where I play big bet or check, so I'm just going to check. And he bets quite big. I just have to fold. There's nothing I can do at this point. So yeah, maybe if I had c-bet the flop, he might have folded. You never know this without knowing what he had. But that's okay. Ace 3 suited. Okay, there's a limp. This guy raises again. I mean, I could, but I think now I will just give up, because now we're also a bit further up front. King 10 off, top left, raising on the button, and everyone snap folds. Okay, I'm being a bit quiet because there aren't any playable hands at the moment. Hopefully we'll get to some better ones soon. Queen 7 off ain't that. Ace Queen versus pocket nines all in, and the nines take you down. Blind versus blind. Okay, 3 deuce off in the big blind, bottom left table. I will most likely fold this hand. Maybe we'll get a walk. No, no walk. Just a fold. 7-5 off, also a fold. What have I done? Okay, come on, let's have some playable hands. I'm sorry, guys. This is just going a bit slow at the moment. I haven't had anything remotely playable for the last 2 or 3 minutes. Queen 7 off again, Jack 4 off. It's just nothing I can do at the moment. Jack 8 off, very, very marginal open if everyone folds. And yes, we can open Jack 8 offsuit. I have Ace Jack off as well. Bottom right. Okay, so we got an open ender. Gonna start with the C bet. No action with our Ace Jack, but more action than I want with the Jack 8. Okay, well, definitely going to call with our open ender, but no luck. Makes it 14. That's okay. I am going to call again. And this is not a great card for me, but on the other hand, the flush comes in. Here I'm just gonna check behind with my really bad kicker, and we get the terrible, terrible, terrible turn card, but I'm still going to call, and here I am going to raise this one to 44. He bets again like half pot. I still think I need to be good 25% of the time. I think I am good that, even though I do expect to lose more than 50% of the time. Oh yeah, at King 10 even. And we got called by Ace 10. Wow. Okay, another bluff that did not go our way. Which seems to be a bit the theme of the day. We have had some good bluffs go through, but we have also had quite a few that didn't. And Ace 10 was kind of a hand that I was hoping that he would fold, but he didn't. Okay, here, King Jack. I'm just gonna check behind again. He overbet 17. What? 17 into 5. Okay, well, we're still gonna call this one. And now the 8 pairs and the backdoor flush comes in. So I'm just hoping that he did this with a weaker king. Can I turn this into a bluff to make him fold a better king? No, I'm just gonna check this behind, and he has Ooh, we won it. Wow, he got counterfeit. He had two pair there. Well, this was one where we got lucky for a change. This was one where we got really lucky for a change. Well, we deserve that after all the bad luck that we've had. But it's a very good bet, actually, that really big bet. Because yes, I will fold a lot, but a lot of players will just try to minimize their winnings or to maximize the amount of times they win, but just getting peanuts by betting small there with two pair. And this guy, he actually got the maximum from a slow played King X. So he did really well, and then he got unlucky that he got counterfeit on the river. But the thing is, if the flush had come in a different way, I might have just jammed there anyway and got him to fold. Then I might have, although would I? Maybe I wouldn't have turned my top pair into a bluff. Three betting queen 10 suited, the small blind, getting 4 bet. Another one, we're just not lucky, and he's rather, it's not a huge 4 bet, but it is slightly bigger than I would have made it. Eight seven suited, now I can raise it from the cutoff, because I said earlier I wouldn't do that. Okay, now I am going to c-bet this. If I ever get the chance to do so. And this guy is just taking ages, but now and we take it down. Great. Ace 5 off on the virtual cutoff. I could have actually opened it, but it's okay. Okay, last hand of the day. Thank you very much for watching. It didn't quite go our way, but thanks anyway for watching. Hopefully next time we will have more luck. I think we lost. Let me check how much we actually lost today. I need to close all the windows first before I can tell you that. And we lost around 1 buy-in, so not the end of the world, but